our monarchy is totally clapped out. It's exhausted. It's thinning out. The next three monarchs, including this one, are confused and cloistered men who don't really understand the world that we live in. And I think that if they had any sense, after this scandal, they would simply abdicate and let us turn this very sad moment, quite a grim moment for our country, into something fun and imaginative and interesting.
Are they more cloistered than previous monarchs? Did Henry VIII or Edward II or Queen Victoria, were they more of the people?
I think they had a closer connection to reality. I think the fact that Andrew, since 2010, when we started to learn about his connections with Epstein, has been allowed to hold quite important government jobs, has been allowed to live in a gigantic mansion. He should be packed out to a shed in the Outer Hebrides. And instead, at all times, he's been supported by this family. It's completely wrong.
But I mean, huge amounts of tax revenues coming in because of the tourist attraction of Buckingham Palace and the House of Windsor, and we don't have to have a directly elected national president like they have in America or in France. Isn't that much better?
I mean, I think a potted plant would be better than the current monarch, actually, if we put it on a throne.
Well. I don't know about you, but I almost spilled my tea, decaf of course, when Will Lloyd calmly declared, "Our monarchy is totally clapped out, totally clapped out, like an overused toaster that sparks when you try to make one more slice of royal toast. Honestly, I haven't heard someone on British television speak this much truth since, well, Meghan Sussex opened her mouth and sent the palace PR department into full meltdown mode." And let's just pause and appreciate the moment. A deputy editor of the New Statesman, on Good Morning Britain of all places, said out loud what the rest of us have been yelling into our teacups for years. The monarchy isn't just outdated, it's exhausted, dehydrated, spiritually wilted. He said the next three monarchs, which, let's be honest, sounds like a bad Netflix sequel lineup, are confused and cloistered men. I mean, where's the lie? These are men so out of touch they probably think Spotify Wrapped is a Christmas present from the peasants. But here's where it gets delicious. Will Lloyd didn't just criticise the monarchy, he straight up served a 5-course truth banquet. He said they don't understand the world we live in. And oh, that stings because it's true. While people are out here working 3 jobs, paying $7 for a bag of grapes, the royal institution is still running around clutching tiaras and titles like it's 1823. And when he said Prince Andrew should have been sent to a shed in the Outer Hebrides, I screamed. Because it's not just funny, it's factual. This man was friends with a convicted predator, yet somehow still had government roles, security, and a mansion the size of a small continent. Meanwhile, Meghan Sussex was practically chased out of the country for eating an avocado and closing a car door by herself. Make it make sense. Let's not forget, this clapped-out monarchy has spent years pretending it's about duty and service, when really it's about optics and control. They're obsessed with image, terrified of change, and allergic to accountability. The whole system runs on denial. The palace's motto might as well be, if we ignore it long enough, the peasants will forget. But the peasants have Wi-Fi now, and podcasts, and clips like this one going viral. Because when Will Lloyd compared the current monarchs to Henry VIII and Queen Victoria, saying they were more connected to reality, I nearly fell over. Imagine being told that Henry VIII, a man who literally chopped off his wives' heads, had a better grasp on the real world than the current royal lineup. That's how far we've fallen. And then, cherry on top, he said a potted plant would be better than the current monarch. You heard it. A fern, a succulent, a fiddle-leaf fig. Anything with chlorophyll would apparently show more vitality and relevance than King Charles III. Honestly, I think the ficus might handle public relations better too. But you know what makes this even juicier? The fact that Meghan Sussex and Prince Harry saw all of this years ago. They tried to bring a little humanity, a little sparkle, a little modernisation. And for that, they were treated like they'd tried to overthrow the crown with a scented candle. The institution didn't want fresh air. It wanted silence. But now the cracks are showing. And suddenly, people like Will Lloyd are saying what Harry and Meghan were condemned for even hinting at. It's like the UK press finally woke up, rubbed their eyes, and said, wait a second, maybe the royal family isn't the picture of moral excellence we thought. Oh, really? Welcome to 2025, everyone. Meghan Sussex tried to tell you in 2020, but you were too busy counting how many times she touched her bump. Let's rewind. For years, they told us the monarchy was this sacred symbol of stability, that we needed it for national unity. Meanwhile, half the country's struggling, and the other half is watching coronation concerts featuring B-list acts who clearly didn't want to be there. The monarchy isn't a unifying force, it's a distraction, a soap opera dressed in ermine. And Will Lloyd hit that nail square on the head when he said it's thinning out. That's the perfect phrase. The family's literally shrinking, not just in numbers, but in relevance. The late Queen had presence, charisma, and an aura of mystery that kept people invested. But now, we've got Charles mumbling about architecture, Camilla playing peekaboo behind curtains, William trying to act like a relatable dad while glaring at photographers, and Kate, well, Kate is there, looking eternally surprised by her own existence. Meanwhile, the only two who brought genuine passion and global attention, Meghan Sussex and Prince Harry, were thrown to the wolves because they didn't fit the centuries-old mould of subservience. And now, the monarchy wonders why the shine is gone. Spoiler alert, it's because they polished the wrong crown. You can almost hear the panic in palace corridors, because when respected commentators start suggesting abdicating and turning this grim moment into something fun and imaginative, you know the rot's set in deep. Imagine the monarchy trying to rebrand. Welcome to the new royal era, now with less nepotism and more sustainability. It'd be hilarious if it weren't so tragic. But here's the thing, the public isn't buying it anymore. The same country that used to faint at the sight of a royal balcony wave is now saying, actually, I'd rather have a plant. That's evolution, baby, and it's poetic justice. Because for every headline that smeared Meghan Sussex as difficult or diva-like, the truth is quietly revealing itself. The problem was never Meghan's personality. It was her presence. She shone too bright in an institution built on dimming everyone else's light. And now, years later, when commentators finally echo what she and Prince Harry stood up against, it's a vindication wrapped in irony. The monarchy's defenders always love to talk about tradition, but tradition without purpose is just stagnation. They say, oh, but the tourists love it, as if people will stop visiting London if Buckingham Palace doesn't have live humans inside. Honey, people go to see the Eiffel Tower too, and no one's living at the top of that. You don't need a king to sell souvenirs. And that's what Will Lloyd was getting at, the absurdity of propping up an institution that's lost its meaning. He said it best, the monarchy is exhausted. It's not inspiring, it's limping. It's like watching a once glorious theatre troupe still performing the same play long after the audience has left. And honestly, maybe it's time. Maybe Britain deserves something new, something actually reflective of its people, not a relic maintained for nostalgia's sake. A potted plant might not wave from balconies, but it also won't embarrass the nation with scandals, shady friendships, and endless PR cleanups. Let's be real. If the monarchy were a company, it would have gone bankrupt decades ago. It only survives because of branding, and even that's failing. The once untouchable royal mystique has become a meme, a parody of itself. And the irony? The two people who could have modernized it, Meghan Sussex and Prince Harry, were driven away, leaving behind exactly what Lloyd described, an institution totally clapped out. So yes, Will Lloyd, you've earned yourself a standing ovation from this corner of the internet. The monarchy is clapped out, is confused, and is out of sync with reality. And maybe, just maybe, it's time for that potted plant to take the throne. At least it would photosynthesize.